Darth Maul was winning, but barely. He had only recently escaped the cold, snow-capped fortress of Count Dooku on a hidden world deep in the Outer Rim. In the days since, he found himself in an ever-escalating war that pitted his Shadow Collective against his former master, Darth Sidious, and the Separatist army. After a massive defeat at his Shadow Collective base on Zanbar, the former Sith regrouped on the Syndicate-friendly planet of Ord Mantell, where Maul managed to defeat the droid army and capture both Dooku and Grievous. Using the lives of Palpatine's top men as leverage, Maul hoped to lure Sidious into a compromising position. But while the red-skinned Dathomirian was busy extorting the powerful Sith, Obi-Wan Kenobi and a Republic commando platoon interfered. The battle that ensued brought the death of another Jedi Master, Mikian, named Tipli, and also bought Grievous enough time to escape amidst the chaos. Fearing that he would lose his winning hand, Maul abandoned the battle by hopping on a Mandalorian gauntlet starfighter and departing for Dathomir, desperately dragging his only surviving prisoner, the always defiant Count Dooku, along for the ride.
Black Sun and the Pikes joined your collective on the promise of greater profits, Maul.
A green-skinned Black Sun liaison said as he beamed into the gauntlet's cockpit via holoprojector. Ever since his escape from Dooku's prison, Maul felt his sway over the members of his Shadow Collective slip further and further out of his grasp. Perhaps your plan isn't as sure as you say, the Pike faction offered a similar sentiment. The third figure in the meeting, a Beskar-adorned Mandalorian commando, didn't suffer the same doubts, and Maul was thankful for it. It seemed that only the Mandalorians trusted his leadership, and he knew if the other collective members would try to actually act upon their dissenting opinions, he could depend on the Death Watch to bring them back in line. His rage, always thrashing beneath the surface, manifested itself in Maul's next growling statement.
Once Darth Sidious is dead, the galaxy will be ours for the taking.
With a quick aside to his Mandalorian lieutenant, Maul turned the holoprojector off and brought himself to the matter at hand. He was going to Dathomir to meet the spirit of Mother Talzin, and he had a present for her.
You're learning that seizing control is much easier than maintaining it,
Dooku said after watching the pathetic interaction between Maul and his subordinates. The blinding lights of hyperspace streaked the exterior of the viewport with dazzling white ribbons, as Maul painfully rotated his mechanical legs to stare Dooku in his eyes.
What would you know of control, Count?
Less than a day ago, the pair had fought off the Jedi attack on Maul's secret Shadow Collective base together. Maul with his Darksaber and Dooku with his own Crimson Blade was a sight to behold. Together, they defeated not only Master Tipli, but Mace Windu and Aayla Secura as well. At one point, Maul hoped that Dooku would join his cause and help bring Sidious's reign to a brief, bloody end. But through the Force, the Dathomirian could sense Dooku's true intentions.
Our alliance has been Sidious's will all along. He has instructed you to play the game, but you've been outmatched.
As soon as the words escaped Maul's mouth, a brutish Mandalorian in terrifying red armor grabbed Dooku by the neck and shoved his Wester 35 into the Sith Lord's silver beard. This time, at last, Maul wouldn't fall for Sidious's tricks. Soon the distant glow of a small green orb appeared from the depths of space, and as the gauntlet fighter thrusted quicker and quicker, the orb grew to the size of a planet. Finally, Maul had returned home to Dathomir. The former Sith wasted no time on celebrations of revelry. Even though his fellow Night Brothers had awaited his return, Maul had more pressing matters. So after exchanging a quick greeting with Brother Viscus, Maul escorted Dooku to the gray, dimly lit tomb of Mother Talzin. Maul pressed his hand flatly against the black, magic tombstone and called out,
Great Mother, hear our prayer. Reveal yourself.
The massive cavern suddenly filled with wisps of green smoke, pouring into the room slowly at first, but then quickly turning into a torrent of violet mist. Mother Talzin targeted the prisoner, and her spirit dove in and out of Dooku's body, exploiting the former Jedi's strong connection to the Force in order to create her physical body. While the Night Sister ripped Dooku's body to shreds on the planet below, a Sith fighter jumped out of hyperspace above, carrying two mostly organic passengers on board.
What is your command?
General Grievous asked, desperate to exact his revenge after his embarrassing defeat at the siege of Ord Mantell, where Maul had captured him. On a small silver chair in the cockpit, Chancellor Palpatine sat cloaked in a maroon gown, thinking over the many different twists and turns the upcoming duel with Maul could bring.
Cloak this ship from view. They won't know we've arrived until it's much too late.
Back on the planet, in Talzin's tomb, Brother Viscus and Maul stood over Dooku's writhing body as the white-haired warrior thrashed around in pain. "Mother will be whole soon," Viscus said. But just before the ritual could come to an end, a massive explosion shook the room, carving a hole in the meter-thick wall of the chamber.
Blood is about to spill.
It was General Grievous, standing menacingly, his black cloak floating in the wind. The Separatist leader already held 2 lightsabers in his hands as he walked towards Maul.
You're too late, General. Our plans are in motion and they can't be stopped.
In a flash, the black blade of the ancient Mandalorian warrior, Tar Vizsla, extended from Maul's grasp, the dark saber in full effect, preparing to meet Grievous. Hoping that the Force would favor him yet again, Maul was certain he could defeat the general in a one-on-one battle, until he saw someone he didn't expect.
No matter how many times you fail, you never learn this lesson, Maul. There is only one plan, one great design which shall govern the universe. Mine.
Sidious had already defeated his former apprentice once before, slaying the young Dathomirian's brother in the process. If they were to fight again, Maul had no doubt he would put all of his anger and rage into the battle, but even that would likely be insufficient. Sidious was just too powerful. As Maul thought over the sudden turn of events, his Mandalorian lieutenant was faring equally poorly on the other side of the galaxy. As Black Sun and Pikes continued to air their grievances, Separatist fleets had arrived at their home worlds, and the onslaught of B-2 droids was tearing their underworld armies apart. By the end of the day, the 2 syndicates would abandon Maul's collective. Mother Talzin's plan to kill Sidious and replace him was falling apart. Soon, perhaps it would all be over for them. Back on Dathomir in the Night Sister tomb, Palpatine walked forward with his red lightsaber extended.
I come to end this farce once and for all. You come to your doom, old man.
Suddenly, rising from the floor, the body of Count Dooku awkwardly lumbered to life, and burning green light inside of his eyes.
Now, Sidious, you will pay for your betrayal.
Mother Talzin had taken control. In unison, Talzin, with Dooku as her pawn, leapt into the battle alongside Maul. As her son dealt with Grievous, Mother took on Sidious. Their red lightsabers clashed only 2 times before Sidious masterfully disarmed her.
You control Dooku's body, but you possess none of his skill.
Palpatine warned before he reached back with his left arm and summoned a sizzling arc of Force lightning.
Release my apprentice, haggard witch!
The sound of thunder filled the tomb. Even Maul and Grievous, desperate to kill each other, briefly paused their fight to watch the masterful Sith unleash his true power.
Enough!
Talzin shouted through Dooku's body, siphoning off as much of the Force as she could. The ancient Night Sister used the last drop of Dooku's power to fabricate a true physical form for herself.
I am whole. I am returned,
she declared, tiny arcs of green lightning forming at her fingertips.
How long I have waited for this,
Talzin said, as she directed the current of electricity towards Palpatine.
Yes, your rush to oblivion has nearly reached its end,
the Sith answered back, matching her power with his own. As their separate streams of lightning forcefully met in the center of the room, Maul took the opportunity to force push General Grievous back through the wall of the tomb and down the mountain wall outside. The Dathomirian then quickly turned to his mother and placed one arm on her back, transferring his own force abilities to her. As her green lightning started to overtake Palpatine's blue strands of electricity, Count Dooku regained consciousness and weakly joined his master, casting a single hand's worth of lightning at Talzin. Although she was resurrected, the Night Sister was not fully recovered. Perhaps if she had a few months to regain her strength, she would have defeated both Dooku and Palpatine. But now, after only a few seconds in her new body, the combined strength of Darth Sidious and Darth Tyrannus was proving too much.
Fight, Mother, fight!
Maul urged her, but it was taking every ounce of her power to hold back the Force lightning. Casting her own green electrical powers in response was too tall of a task. Realizing that her plan to come back to life and take Sidious's place would never come true, Talzin looked at her son for the last time.
Go, my son,
she said, unable to hide her sorrow.
We can escape together,
Maul shouted, barely audible over the deafening thunder echoing off the stone walls.
Run,
she commanded again. She quickly threw her hand towards Maul and used her ancient gift of magic to throw him towards the descended ramp of a nearby gauntlet fighter. As a pair of Mandalorian warriors gripped their lord, dragging him towards the ship's inner rooms, Grievous walked around the side of the electrical storm, slowly trudging towards Talzin. Unable to move, Talzin helplessly watched as the cyborg stood before her, ignited a pair of lightsabers, and plunged them deep into her chest. In an instant, her new body created through an ancient magic technique had now disintegrated into dust.
No!
Maul screamed as the Mandalorians struggled to restrain him and keep him inside of the ship. After all this time, all of their planning, all of their work, Talzin was gone, and their desperate hope to replace Sidious was gone with it. Hope you guys enjoyed today's 4th comic issue of Son of Dathomir. I really hope they turn this adaptation into either a live action, which would be really cool, or a animated series just like the Clone Wars. And if they want to do live action, I mean, that'd be wild, but they would have to do a lot of the deep faking and stuff for Dooku, Sir Christopher Lee, and probably Maul too, to be honest, but that's just makeup, I suppose. Thanks for watching today's comic video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Until then, remember, the Force will be with you, always.